First, the wreath laying early this morning. Solemn, of course, and moving, but not quite what it all seems. For what kind of country re-celebrates a funeral? In essence, today has been about the commemoration of a commemoration. From early doors, David Cameron placing himself centre stage, being seen to talk Churchill.
Then there's Churchill, the bon vivant, the bottles of Paul Roger in number 10, the practice of taking his cabinet out for lunch at the Savoy Grill. Sadly for my cabinet, this is not really the current regime.
The original commemoration barge Havengore this morning retracing her 1965 River Cortege route upstream to Westminster from the Tower, all set out, of course, by Churchill himself. 50 years ago, London dockers lowered the cranes. Not a spontaneous gesture of respect, though. They had to be paid. Churchill and organised labour were never best friends. Today, things were going up. Tower Bridge opening the way for Havengore.
Outside, well-wrapped, more of the people.
The BBC covered the real thing in 1965, Dimbleby and all.
The solitary figure of the Earl Marshal in his black coat and his white, feathered, plumed hat.
A million people lined the route. 350 million saw the pictures on TV worldwide.
Some in sad memory as they see the Union Jack and the coffin going by.
50 years on, the BBC gave it wall-to-wall coverage all over again. Well, they do love repeats, one wag said. But not a few were asking why cover a reenactment as if it were a state occasion. 50 years on, when it comes to Winston Churchill, much has changed, including perceptions of a man who said Indians are beastly and the Aryan stock is bound to triumph.
Winston Churchill was a racist, an imperialist, a thwarter of women's rights, an advocate of chemical weapons, and a hater of trade unions. But it is his legacy that means people like myself can stand here 50 years on and speak these truths.
We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Aboard HMS Belfast on the Thames today, a personal memory of Churchill from one of his staff in the war room.
And he had a private sort of cinematograph set up downstairs underground. And I think probably we'd rather have gone to bed, but some of us decided one night we would go. And we sat there waiting. And then all of a sudden, in he comes in his pyjamas and dressing gown with a large cigar and probably brandy. Winnie's here, let it roll. I can't remember what the film was about.
Who cares?
But I do remember, no, it doesn't matter a bit.
There's my father.
With her father's published diaries of the London Blitz, Christine Kuss, who remembers the Luftwaffe destroying her house and what Churchill means to her.
All the neighbours with my parents put on a birthday party. And it wasn't that I was a special little girl. We were sending a message to the enemy: you can destroy our homes, but you can't destroy our spirit. And that's what Churchill injected into the people of this country.
In the age of austerity, nobody seems to know what this cost the taxpayer today in total. All in all, a deeply British, deeply eccentric occasion. Aptly so, perhaps, for this Nobel writer, this bricklayer, this lepidopterist, this butcher of Gallipoli, this man who turned British troops on British strikers, this statesman, this hero and this villain, for he was nothing if not an eccentric.